Anyway.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of SoFi Weekly. We've got Amit, myself, we've got Riley, we've got Tevis, and we've got someone wearing a blue blazer.
Because I was rocking the double Bluetooth calls, I thought I'd go full Wall Street. Sorry, guys, I got to take this. Give me a second. No, I'm just joking.
Sell it all. Sell all of it.
Yeah. But put it all into SoFi stock. If Noto's buying, I want to buy.
So we had SoFi earnings. We're going to be discussing that this episode. Thank you, everyone who joined on the SoFi earnings live on Monday. It's crazy that was Monday, right? Do you guys forget like that was actually Monday? I think we had a collective. We had like 300 in one stream, 300 in another stream, 400, 500 in Tevis' stream. So a lot of people showed up. Really awesome. Thank you guys for the support. And then SoFi stock proceeded to fall something like, was it 25, 30% over the next couple of days. And we're here to break down why that happened and also break down why it rebounded today, about 8-10%, coming back a little bit to normal.
Also sharing an exclusive on this episode as well. Never before heard information.
Okay. I didn't even know you had an exclusive. There we go. Awesome.
I said it in the chat.
One of the guys in the comments, what the hell is Amit wearing? But like, okay, so the contrast between Amit and Tanner's attire right now is so stark.
That's what I was just thinking.
Okay, so to break down what I'm wearing, because you guys obviously don't understand fashion.
Start with the scarf.
It's not a scarf. This is a gaiter. It's called a neck gaiter. Okay, you motherfuckers calling it a scarf. It's a neck. I've decided this is my style. No one on YouTube's doing this. Literally, I have a monopoly on this. Like no one does this. So this is my thing. If you guys see a guy with a gaiter, it's me. And it's very stylish when I get the different colors, all that stuff. It
goes very well with the G-Shock.
Yeah, so this is a G-Shock from 2011 that I begged my mom to get me when G-Shock was trending. Yep. And you know what? You look at this. It doesn't have the time because the time is always now. Okay, so that's why my G-Shock doesn't tell me the time.
That's the most important thing I've ever heard.
This is a ring. I wear this ring because I am a lord and I'm a fan of the movie. So that's why I wear this ring. Lord of the Rings.
Chastity ring.
That sounded like you were trying to get it. And then we got the beanie because honestly, my hair is just crazy because I just worked out and my hair is wild. So that's what I'm doing. So that's it. Oh, and then Kobe because why not? Lakers, Mamba.
Dude, I think if anyone is able to explain away poor into motivation, like I would not choose anyone else.
Wait, explain away what into motivation?
Just being poor.
Oh, being poor. Oh,
can you imagine this motherfucker running a company? Like, just looking at him, you're like, I don't want to invest in this shit at all.
Yeah.
If I ever make it,
it would be the exact opposite. It would be you would get so much clout, or like everybody in the room would like look to you for advice because everybody would be in the business suits, and you'd just be rocking sandals or something.
Yeah. So I've been wearing slides and sandals.
Oh, dude, your whole outfit's a contradiction. I don't understand.
And it's also wearing shorts too, so it's not even. It's basketball shorts. So if I ever make it as a big time successful startup CEO, I will walk in with dress pants and slides and sandals into whatever corporate meeting I'm going. I'm not wearing those fucking corporate shoes. They suck so bad, and people are just gonna have to deal with it. Oh, and finally got the Beats. Got to put these on as backwards.
God. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, Kelly said, are you also wearing socks or are you just towing it out?
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Oh, dude.
All right, so you're wearing socks, slippers, a jersey, a polo, a beanie, and a gaiter around your neck.
Yes, exactly.
What the?
It looks like a Power Ranger.
Oh
my God.
If the knees aren't showing,
end. That's how you know they're real. They actually end, and then we have a goal.
Oh Jesus!
And again, the G-Shock doesn't tell the time because the time is always now. Just want to reiterate.
And I watched it.
Yeah.
I'm so
and I live with my parents, so the more time the less time I spend cooking, the more time I can spend on the startup. I mean, he's great at it.
Rent is expensive. You save money. There we go.
No, I'm just clowning you. I mean, it's awesome. I love the different styles every single time. You stand out in a crowd for sure.
Awesome. So SoFi, we got earnings. I guess we'll start off with this. Thank you, Riley, for making this slide deck so we can show it throughout the entire pod. It's down 20%. It was down worse than this. It ended today at 516. It got to the lows of, someone said 459, but I saw it at 470. I don't know if I'm wrong on that, but it got pretty low.
It hit like 460 at some point, like 460 in the 460 range at the very bottom.
You can just see where the dip. It's almost hitting 450 right there.
All right. So
I told my little brother the first time to invest. He just turned 18 in December, and I'm like, "Hey, man, I want you to put some of your money into SoFi Monday morning," and he did. And now he doesn't want to listen to me at all. That's that advice. He thinks I'm so stupid.
That's kind of crazy, though. The first time you tell someone to invest in something they've never touched, like in equity before, they put their money and they just see it go down. That's a crazy experience.
Yeah, down like 30% in 1 week.
Yeah,
it's a good lesson, though.
Did you tell them you were like 61% in SoFi, Riley, and just to hold tight, or what?
I made a tweet saying what I did, and I told everybody that I gave my brother that bad advice, and I got like 150 likes. So I just screenshotted that and said everybody agrees with you and wishes you luck. And he started laughing at that because so many people are commenting on that tweet.
Yeah, I mean, that'll probably be the last time you give any family, stock advice.
Yeah, I shouldn't have done it. It always goes against me, right?
Well, eventually, if SoFi moons, your brother will be happy. But let's start off with Tanner. Tanner, can you explain why, after a triple beat, the stock collapsed down to 460? Any insights from your end for why you think this happened?
It's really all banking fears, in my opinion. I think it's bank fears, SoFi's exposure to bank ETFs. Being a part of those mutual funds or ETFs where potentially people are dumping because of banks. SoFi is just a part of that, and like the sentiment on the earnings wasn't actually bad at all. The stock ran up 8% after hours. It's just the overall market ended up hating this, and then PacWest doubled that, and then it all just came collapsing down from there. And I mean, they are a high risk company. In my opinion, though, I believe that the risk is offset by the reward. But if you're comparing it to a normal bank, like a JP Morgan or a Bank of America, the risk might not be worth it to you if you don't see the growth rates and the total addressable markets.
Okay, Tevis, your thoughts? Anything to add, or do you concur with Tanner for why we dropped?
Yeah, I think macro. Interestingly, I don't want to extrapolate too far, but with FRC and PacWest and whoever the other one was, it just seems as though a lot of people are. I mean, look, I'm just drawing the conclusions that I can from what I see out there, and if I push it to the extreme, it seems as though more people are associating SoFi with those names than SoFi with a company that triple beats. And I mean, Chris Hager, posted SoFi in comparison with some tech companies that all triple beat and were up double digits. Meanwhile, SoFi triple beat, and coincidentally, it happened on a week where the banking turmoil is continuing to some contagion risk. And it seems that a lot of people are just associating SoFi as one of these regional banks that is disproportionately hurt. And it is what it is, right?
Yeah, I would agree. Riley, any thoughts?
I mean, it's kind of weird to see how everybody's scared of like this macro. Like people are asking the U.S. government to pause puts on banks. Is that right? Or I only know like the headline, but are they actually going to do that? Because I know this screenshot they did this in 2008. I don't know. So maybe they do it again. They've done it before.
Yeah. So to give a little context to this, so basically the United States, there was a rumor that there may be a moratorium like they did in September 19th, 2008, where the economy got so bad that you have to protect the banks from collapsing, even though banks had already collapsed. So you stop, people from institutions, hedge funds, to being able to short these banks and collapse these banks further down, because if the banks are weak, there's already a bank run, and then you've got hedge funds shorting the crap out of them, then this economy goes to shit. I think it's actually a really reasonable thing for a government to step in this situation. I don't know if we are at 2008 levels, even though we've had more banks collapse since 2008, even though those banks are much more smaller. But this is why SoFi was up today. So for those wondering why SoFi got to 470 and why it spiked all the way back up to 515, it's because this news sent every bank flying this morning, and quite frankly sent the market flying, because investors felt more safe that the economy would not collapse, that there would not be more regional banks that collapsed. Any thoughts, Tanner? We'll start with you, then Tevis, on if we could have a moratorium on shorting banks.
I don't know. It's in the cards. I just wanted to speak on that one point that that you said. There's not more banks that are collapsing than 2008. It's higher assets under management, even adjusted to inflation. Which there was many more banks in 2008, but a lot of them, like we're calling these banks small banks because they're not JP Morgan sized. But compared to a lot of the banks that actually dropped off during 2008, like those were micro banks, you know what I mean? Comparative to the size of, First Republic or SVB. So
basically saying in 2008, the banks that collapsed were really like Lehman Brothers. Those were like very big banks, which is different from today.
No. So the opposite. Lehman Brothers was large. SVB was bigger. You know what I mean? Whenever it comes to assets. Whenever it comes to assets under management, I think it was FRC was the second largest bank to ever collapse, aside from Western or
here, Amit. I'll send
Washington.
I'll send you an image to visualize it. Just put that. I put it in our private chat. Just put that up on the screen.
Washington Alliance. I forget what the name of it. Yeah, we'll see it in a sec. But should be FRC is the largest, then SVB, then
this is what
a bunch of these other
Tanner
ones.
means. So just click on the image, dude. There you go.
Wow. Okay, so this is very interesting.
Yeah,
so these are. Go ahead, Tanner.
Holy crap!
Well, yeah, you can see
insane.
it. Look at the number of banks that were collapsing back then versus today. So this snowman on the right side is a little bit worrisome because what could it turn into? Now, whenever you actually talk to the people in the banking industry, and obviously their job is to keep your like they're not trying to scare you, but also this is a very different situation from 2008. And the greatest thing is that just because there's a banking collapse doesn't mean that your bank will collapse. And this is also what I love. The number one thing that's happening that's causing these banks to go down is a lack of deposits, which is
correct.
Maybe one, the actual industry that we're in, but also back in 2008, you didn't have the fintech pressures that you do today. I find there's a bunch of these companies like SoFi and Apple. Sorry. Okay. They took $1 billion in deposits in 4 days. My bad. But that being said, like if you look at all the fintechs, Cash App is taking tons of deposits. You're seeing, and I mean, Cash App does go to other banks. So it's not actually going to these banks, but it's not the ones that are actually collapsing right now. That's the funniest thing. So this is putting additional pressures. What I really, really like and why I'm bringing that up is the fact that SoFi, in my opinion, is on the opposite side. If you have this same image, but Christopher Hager's version of it, where he adjusted it to add
in the comments.
Yeah, go check the comments. If that's Chris's post, look in the comments.
Yeah, just right below that. There
right there. So that's SoFi.
Zoom in too, because I can barely see.
This is what I love, right? This is the opposite of a concern of a banking collapse, and that bodes really well for the stocks that we hold.
Sorry, it's not zooming in that well, but basically, yeah, SoFi got a crap ton of more deposits, and that was one of the most exciting things about their earnings, is that they added 2.7 billion in deposits, while a lot of regional banks that are still pretty large banks are collapsing.
Yeah,
and on track to do over 2 billion this quarter as well.
Just going back to the short sell thing that Riley put up on screen. So the two avenues that you can take this in is saying, well, a couple of banks are going to die, and the ones that are better capitalized, more well-managed, more operationally sound are going to inherit all of those deposits because the money is going to go somewhere. And so if it goes out of PacWest or FRC, then a portion of it could go to SoFi. It's also going to consolidate a lot of the big boys. I mean, JP Morgan's like buying up all of these banks on the cheap and becoming a giant, well, even bigger than some regulatory constraints that they had in the past. to having all of the deposits out there. So that's one avenue, right? Some are going to fail and some are going to benefit. And, we think that SoFi is going to be in the camp of institutions that's going to benefit. The other side that you can take, the more bearish side, is sort of going off of this document to say, well, the government potentially, let's say, I don't think this is going to happen, but the case to be made for it, if the government stops shorting, why would they do that? Because there's a domino effect in terms of these stocks like PacWest. They can just release one piece of news and the stock can be down 50% in after hours trading. There's a lot that piles on. And so if we go back to that chart that, Chris Hager has on, well, if I'm being prudent and if I'm saying, well, obviously there's going to be contagion risk, it's going to be a domino effect of all the players that are going to go down, I'm going to see who is the next most likely to go down on that list. So if you pull up the chart that Chris Hager, put up, if PacWest is the one that's down 60, 70, 80%, who's the next one? Who's the next one after that? Because I want to make money on the way down. And so it spirals, right? Like, okay, so it's PacWest, and then it's going to be Western Alliance Bancorp, and then it's going to be the next guy, and then the next guy. I'm going to start shorting those names now because expecting this contagion to continue. And that's why, what's the government's stance? The government essentially wants to put a hold on these dominoes cascading down. And so to move us more into that first situation than the second one, right? So it's all about contagion risk right now. I mean, it has been since February when this thing all started, and it still seems to be a big question mark. Also, Chris Patel is in the chat. Welcome.
It is crazy that on that chart there was 3 large banks, but they're affecting the entire macro for all the other banks. Like SoFi is affected by these 3 banks that just didn't have enough deposits.
It's not these 3 banks, man. It's not these 3 banks. It is the prospect of the future banks after these 3.
Okay.
Yeah, if we thought it stopped at 3 banks, this would be over.
Yeah, exactly.
The problem is that these quarters, if you guys watch the bank earnings, they all said, we're not sure this is done. and that keeps the spook alive a little bit. So there's mixes, right? People are saying it's not done. There might be a couple more casualties, but this is not 2008. So, weigh that how you will.
Guys, Chris says, get me a link and I'll join. Do we want to have him step on for a little bit? Talk about some SoFi earnings?
Honestly, we might have too much to talk about instead of just getting yelled at.
No, I don't think Chris is there to yell at us. But also, do we? I mean, we got an hour and 10 minutes.
I'm happy to do it.
I'm happy to do it as well.
That'd be cool.
Okay, I'm fine with him coming on. He's just going to pitch his, what is it, SunTrust or whatever. I would love to talk really quickly about an exclusive, or should I wait for a couple more viewers? I mean, we're not even 10 o'clock yet.
That's what I'm saying. That's why we start 30 minutes early. We have a lot of time, so we can.
I have some great news though. Well, I don't know if you call it good or bad, but I'm dropping an exclusive here. Something that legitimately not a single person in this chat has heard about SoFi, and this is a guarantee.
Why do I feel like you're trying to sell me something with that blazer?
Okay, no, so
I'll take it off. I put it on for the skit at the beginning, and then I just kept it on. And someone told me I should. Sorry,
I was saying you should wait 30 minutes then, because if that's really good stuff, then wait till we get some more people here. Then you can tell.
Yeah, it's not like amazing.
Is it about your channel or is it about SoFi?
No, it's about SoFi. It's about the long lost client that we lost. It's not Revolut. We were wrong.
Okay. How confident you are that who it is?
100%.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm. I'm 100% certain.
I'm actually kind of curious now.
Yeah, and I hope everyone is.
Is Chris coming on or not?
No, I think he's going to sleep. He said.
He just said.
Tanner, you basically kicked him off. You're like, no, we don't want you. So he's going back to sleep. All right, so Chris.
Well, I'm just saying. I'd love to talk with Chris. I don't have a problem against that. I just we have a lot of ground to cover, and I don't want to hear the bear case whenever there's like actually news. Like whenever there's a slow
right,
week,
so
I
let's
think
go to
that's
member
perfect
growth.
guest, material.
Okay. All right, so let's go to member growth, and then we'll get into some other stuff, and then we'll do your exclusive stuff. Riley, talk to us about member growth. Is it good, positive, not good enough? What do you think?
I've been so overly optimistic about member growth, but it looks like, and Tanner, correct me if I'm wrong, because I think you've been spot on about this for the longest time. I think it is pretty obvious that they're kind of making sure that the per quarter growth stays kind of consistent. If you go to the next slide, well, actually, I could do it. Like ever since Q4 2021, like we've had very consistent numbers. When before that, you could see it was just drastic climbs and huge like rates of growth, and now it's just very, very consistent, which is probably by design. I don't know. You would think that like if you're following a tech company or you're investing in a tech company, they would try to get as many users on their platform as possible, like every other startup in tech. But I mean, SoFi is a different situation. They have to make sure all the deposits that are coming in safely, and they can do everything safely. Tanner, what do you think?
Yes. I honestly, I wasn't really listening.
Did you just say Riley's voice is like not good?
I mean, look, we talked about the.
I was taking off the blazer. I was getting comfortable.
I asked you for the S&M slides, the sales and marketing, because I wanted to see like if there was a noticeable trend from Q4 2021 when we kind of like went static here on that red line. Like we haven't really had any like new growth that's over 450,000 on average. But now, I mean, like sales and marketing is going up, but it's hard to really tell like what they're spending this on. I don't know, like what do you think the strategy is? Because like, okay, so Tanner, tell me like why they aren't like focused on getting tons of users, because I feel like they could, if they wanted to, they could have like huge levels of per quarter growth, but they're trying to be consistent.
Yeah, it'll cost them more money. They're trying to become profitable, and that's what the market wants to see. And it's really hard to be a profitable company and grow at insane rates. So, yeah. The only thing, and I think it is a good bear case. Truly, like I know. Here's the problem: is I know what the bull case is, and we always come on and repeat it and repeat and repeat it, and we know what it is. And the problem is I always feel like I'm coming off so bearish whenever I'm talking about SoFi now. It's so weird. But SoFi's customer acquisition costs compared to other fintechs is really high. It's similar. It's almost between fintechs and banks. It's roughly around $300 per person that they actually bring on. And that's new members. That's not even, potentially active users, which is something that a statistic that SoFi doesn't show off. So the truth is, if you guys want the real numbers, customer acquisition cost has been climbing, sales and marketing has been climbing, and revenue per user has been dropping. So like those are the stats. But that being said, there are a bunch of things at play. We're getting a ton of, deposits that are helping funding our loan portfolio, and that's bringing in a ton of interest income, and we're going to be profitable, and then the market will turn positive. But we already know all that. But yeah, that is the truth. I just think that they don't want to spend a lot right now. They want that number to go EPS positive.
Yeah. Someone did say in the chat, we still have the stadium and the stadium name, and just putting that out there. We paid $625 million for that stadium. It always helps a little more brand awareness.
Sure.
Even if the direct marketing is not what we're spending.
It's a known. We can't just go back to, we have the stadium every time that, we don't have like any.
No, my point is if we are going to decrease our direct to consumer conversions through like Facebook ads or whatever we're doing to get them, the stadium is there. And the fact that it is there and that brand does exist, who knows how many out of these 433,000 that joined because of the brand on that stadium, right? I'm just making a general point.
And the truth is a lot of our marketing is super affluent, right? Like we're we're trying to get big fish that stay on for long periods of time. We're not going for the Cash App strategy of like, hey, once you turn 16, you got to get on our platform. Like that's not the client that we want. We want a really affluent client. And so the marketing strategies is LinkedIn, SiriusXM, more of the affluent products where people can hear about SoFi and probably have some source of wealth or professionalism where they're making a higher income. So with that, though, costs more.
So let me ask you this. So our cost of acquisition is going up. The revenue per user is not going up. Why do you think that is? And what do you think the solution is, like in SoFi strategy? What are they trying to do to combat this, Tanner? What do you think?
I don't know if I know that much about them. I think a little bit of everything, right? Diversify through different products, go direct deposit. See, the direct deposit strategy is so smart. That's the one thing I feel like people just brush off because they see it in normal banking, but they don't see it in fintech. And direct deposit users are such high paying customers, like for SoFi, because not only does it lower the cost for the loans that we give out, but then they also end up taking many more products as well. So SoFi Plus has been the largest strategy I find that they're doing, and they will spend a lot of money to make you a direct deposit user. Here, if you're a direct deposit user in the first 30 days or whatever, we'll give you $250 flat fee, right? That's after referral fees. That's after all the marketing to get them, TV spend and everything like this. So those are high costs. But how and it's not an instant gratifying payback. Like Tevis pointed out during the live is like, it'll be a 12 to 18 month or even 12 to 24 month payback period on their client acquisition strategy. But a direct deposit client stays for much longer than that. That makes sense?
Yeah, I really think right now SoFi's offering is kind of limited. Like we haven't really got that one-stop shop thing completely right. We're still paying for licensing and honestly, I mean, that's the biggest reason Amit doesn't use the app is just like, it's kind of like the app kind of sucks and the products, like I'm guarantee you Amit doesn't check his app every day.
No, bro.
But
bro,
if he were to,
it takes like 30 seconds to load up Face ID. I'm just like, bro, this is a tech company? Like,
yeah.
What is this?
Dude, that is weird. Every like 6 months, it gets like really fast, and then it just bogs down over time, and then it gets really fast. So I don't know what they're doing, but I'm hoping to see like some sort of like big improvement and start monetizing the customers. Because like once you actually have like 10 million people all logging into the app, there's something you can do. Like it doesn't even have to be banking oriented. It could just be like referrals or just like a subscription inside the app to like for a financial calculator or tool. I know nobody's gonna want to like actually buy something like that, but there's just so many ways to monetize. So it is weird. I just want to know what their strategy is. Very curious.
Yeah, and it's hard to know, and maybe we can get an insider on one day. But yeah,
That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Lower SB or Tanner, do you want to do your exclusive? You want to do that now? Then we'll get to this.
Do you want me to do that now?
Yeah, we got 300 people here. Might as well.
Okay. So Tevis Tevis will know what I'm talking about here, but maybe not the others. But anyway, I know a guy and or gal. Anyway, they came out to actually affirm us that it wasn't Revolut that actually dropped off because they were listening. I think they're listening now. That it wasn't Revolut that dropped off. That was more of a red herring or whatever. It was Current. We lost
Really?
Current. Yeah, that was the client that dropped off. Which I don't know. I don't actually know the member counts on those. Which one's a larger client? Current, I know, goes for an extremely young client. So potentially, that doesn't matter as much, or I'm not sure, but I wonder what you guys think about that.
Do you know why, or do you know like the reason at all, or is just
I'm
Why
not
did we lose
sure.
these guys again?
they're kind of like a future banking. They're kind of like a neobank, but they use sponsor banks. They're not going to be as profitable as SoFi in the long run, but they're kind of cool. They got a card. A lot of people like them. High NPS. It is weird that they dropped us, and this is just Galileo.
Yeah, I don't know if they were ever a client of Technisys. All I know it was a Galileo client for payment processing. I'm just looking at one of the clients, just says current is dead to me. You drop away from Galileo, I'm skipping every one of your ads that shows up.
Dude, some of these comments are fucking wild.
Which
Next
comments?
time a
You wanna bring
YouTube
them
video
up?
is sponsored by Current, I leave.
Matt says, I'd let my wife date Riley. I don't know where that came from. That one's just...
Oh, that's a lot better. I thought you were saying that you would wife one of us, like you were going to marry us. Cool, Matt Money.
Ooh, put up Jason's comment. Put up Jason's super chat. This is an interesting point. The best way to know who Galileo's clients are is to see who they are following on Instagram. I have a strong feeling those are who their clients are.
Never thought about that. Well, actually, Galileo has been on Twitter for a very long time.
They might be following prospective clients or something, but
yeah. Okay. Interesting.
So
I remember Anthony Noto one time saying that clients do end up leaving from time to time, and that he's a firm believer that their business will, have a harder time succeeding without Galileo's technology, which I thought was funny. Very, very bold statement,
So, but so I haven't heard of Current. I have zero context on who they are, what they do.
How have you guys not heard of Current?
No.
Yeah, pull up their webpage. It's a nice.
I've seen ads for them.
I would say Revolut is bigger. I don't know. I've heard of Revolut, and I know they're quite large. They're like 50 billion, 40 billion market cap, something like that, out of the UK. But anyways, I might be totally off on that.
I think.
Do we know who probably? Do we know who Current went to if they dropped Galileo? Because that's an interesting distinction for us to like. The first questions I ask are, why did they leave? Where did they go? And, does the person or does the company that they are now with have something that Galileo lacks? And if so, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Maybe they went to First Republic.
No, I mean, I would only be speculating to say it's probably the Bancorp Bank. A lot of fintechs deal with them, but I would just be guessing. I just remember Current because
there's an article. There's an article here. It says why neobank Current left its main tech provider for Visa. The challenger bank Current has broken up with its technology and payment processing provider and is connecting directly to Visa.
On the screen?
I'll send you all a link because I just
boom. How credible does that make that source, eh?
Wow. Visa.
It was like October 2022. Yeah, and
that would time up about right.
Yeah, so the move makes Current more nimble and will enable it to roll out new products more quickly. Its leaders say. Last week, for example, they launched cryptocurrency trading in the Current app in partnership with the Current crypto custody provider Zero Hash. All that is okay. So the real tag word is Visa DPS, which is wild. I want to know what that is because that's what they left Galileo for.
Yeah, wow.
Interesting. And Tanner, how did you figure this out? Did you just research?
No, sources. I people from the chat are very, very nice. They reach out and yeah. I said this last episode too. I'm never divulging. Is that the word, divulging? That sounds wrong.
Divulging.
Isn't a
Divulging, yeah.
bulge like your cock or something? Like it's different, right?
Divulge.
Okay. Yeah.
Divulge,
Bulge.
not divulge.
Bulge is different.
So there's two strategies. They left Galileo because Galileo was too expensive and they had too many tools that they didn't need, and they just went to the generic brand, which is Visa's debit processing service. Or, I mean, I don't think. I mean, why would Galileo exist if Visa can do it all? So maybe they're just trying to save money. That could be it, because Current's not really that. Like, they pay a ton of licensing fees. They don't do it all in house. They have sponsor banks and everything like that. So maybe they're just trying to make it cheaper. I don't know. Two ways, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the specifics of why they did that. I mean, maybe they lose out on a lot of the fraud or risk services or something like this, but maybe they realize that the actual services that they used at Galileo were not needed, and so they just went straight to the payment processor. I'm not actually sure how that works. So
very interesting.
Interesting.
That is a really good take.
Let's move on to stock-based comp. So our friend Chris Hager, data-driven investing on Twitter. I predicted SoFi stock-based comp.
Oh, wait, I just got some news. Wait, I'm going to cut you off.
Okay.
Can we get like a little breaking?
Yeah, no, this is breaking news. I was just told they were the second largest client behind Chime.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So Galileo's second largest
wow.
client, Current, left Galileo to go to Visa as a result of Visa's debit processing service being faster.
Bro, dude, look at this link.
I guess
they actually have Galileo's name in it. Some person or some entity knew that it was Galileo that Current left back in October 2022. That's a really important source.
Well, like we knew it would be Galileo as well. Like I knew Current or Galileo and Current had a relationship. I didn't know that they left. That's the thing. If I had read that article, I would have told you that was Galileo, but I didn't even. You were really fast on that.
Yeah, that's wild. That's really crazy.
Yeah.
And so, oh yeah, let's go to SBC.
So Hager said it would come down by at least 5 million in Q1. It decreased by 6.75. As a percentage of revenue, it peaked at 27.5 in Q4 2021, but now dropped to about 14% of revenue. He says SBC will continue to come down in both absolute and relative terms in the coming quarters, which ultimately is good for SoFi. So any thoughts on SBC coming down, and do we think it can come down another 10, 15% before the year ends?
I forget what the projection was.
Easily.
Mm.
Dude, 10, 15% from easily. Revenue is just going to go up, right? And then
that's the goal.
Yeah, right? Like they're not going to have like a quarter where they're up 30 or 40% year over year, and then they're just going to be like down year over year. I mean, barring some like force majeure event, but revenue is going to go up given the current trend. Stock-based compensation is going down given the current trend. It's been going down for 4 quarters in a row now. So, I mean, 10 to 15% lower from here for SBC. I don't see that being too much of an issue.
Yeah, I mean, this just shows they're a bit more fiscally responsible, trying to get SBC to keep coming down. And that's the most important thing for shareholders, since we want to see that go down. Okay, this is a good slide. So this is a comparison of some of the biggest tech companies to report earnings this week. Obviously, SoFi is not at this level anymore, but it was down 24%. Uber, Shopify, Datadog, Lemonade, they all reported. And, SoFi had some pretty inline projections with a lot of those. They beat on EPS more than 3 out of the 4 companies. And they beat on revenue growth more than 3 out of the 4 companies, but their share price was down 24%. So again, today would have been really bad if this moratorium, not even news, it was a rumor that didn't get leaked. I mean, there was one Twitter account, that girl, Genevieve or something on Twitter. She got like a couple 100,000, or I think at this point it's probably 1 million views on that tweet. And that probably started spreading like wildfire. And a lot of people decided to get out of their puts or their shorts on banks today. So obviously that news helped a lot in disguising this. And here's the big news of the week. CEO Noto threw $236,500 at the stock. Riley, your raw thoughts on Noto buying?
It's like a great morale boost. Everybody loves it when he does it. I don't know. It does seem like he's doing it opportunistically. Like when the price does go down, he does make big buys. Tanner was 2 days off um, when he called that Noto was going to bounce a buy, and he got pretty close. So
Yeah,
I think
supposedly
we're all kind of.
supposedly I was in I didn't even know, but there was like a grace period 48 hours after or the 2 trading days after that he's not even allowed to buy. So the day it opened up, he purchased. Oh, you were muted, Riley.
I was just saying, wow, yeah, no, it was spot on. I feel like every time it dips down, Noto buys. It's like the most reassuring CEO like of any company.
I mean, look, that's a really big piece, Riley, that you just mentioned. The Noto handicap on SoFi is ridiculous. The fact that Noto in himself, just not even his abilities as an operator, but just as a cheerleader of the company, putting his dollars behind the company, his own personal dollars, not any type of SBC, that has become a handicap on SoFi, being disproportionately, skewing towards the bull side than the bear side, because you're going to make the arguments, right? What are the pros or cons of SoFi? And you're going to list them all out. But then let's say we compare Palantir with SoFi, just as a random example. One of the points that's going to come up, it's that Noto is buying SoFi stock, and then Carp isn't buying Palantir stock. And so this bullishness from the leaders of the organization, I mean, we've said this before, they're putting their money on what they can control. They can't control anything in this macro environment. They can't really control anything that happens with all of these other companies. They can control their own ability to execute and operate on their companies and scale them effectively. And so it really does become a huge point towards the bullish side to say that Noto is continuously buying every time that the stock dips under $5, because he knows what he can achieve. He knows the team he has. He sees.
Can I give the devil's advocate to this?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Well, 236,000 is not a lot of money for him.
Sure, it's not his first buy.
Hold on, I didn't even finish. That's a small part. That's what a lot of girls have told to me many times in my life. Hold on, I didn't even finish.
Go on.
Anyway,
go on.
I'm not surprised.
No, I know you're not surprised. I was very surprised. The second thing is, I was like, what? You didn't finish? Second thing is look, it kind of looked like a pity buy, to be honest. Does no one in the 310 people here feel that it was like shareholders are mad, stock's at 470, let me throw, I mean, if he bought like 200,000 shares, and we know he can, 300,000, 400,000 shares, we know he can, that's pocket
We don't
change
know
for
he
this
can.
guy. Hold on, I'm not even, hold on. Again, girl didn't finish yet, okay? He can buy a lot more. Yes, he can. He can buy a lot of fucking stock, okay? The guy's loaded. Or like,
What's he worth? What's he worth?
He's been buying a ton of. If he's been averaging down from $9, and he put $10 million of his own money on the open market. You don't think he has more than 236,000? He has.
I know he has more than. But what I'm saying is, like, first of all, I think his net worth is estimated to be around $100 million. Okay, we don't know
200,000 out of 100 million.
Yeah, but
how much did he make from Twitter though? That's
first of all, 40 million of that is already tied up in SoFi.
Okay, you got 60 million left.
I know, but we don't know what that is across all of his stocks.
Okay,
his house,
Tanner,
investment.
This is his baby. We are his shareholders. Sell your fucking jet or whatever your money's in and buy some more fucking stock if it's that undervalued. Yeah. Look, my point is.
I mean, tell that to Carp or any other other.
Here's my point. See, I literally never got to finish. Right, this is my point. The bull case for Carp not buying shares is that he knows that he can do. As in, he knows the company can perform. He don't need to kind of throw this pity thing. Now, I obviously agree with you, Tab. It's like, yeah, Carp should buy shares. I agree. I wish Carp was buying shares. But at some level, it's also like the guy's just buying it to get people to shut up. Okay. Like, imagine if Noto didn't do this. Is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, can I present the counter argument?
Go ahead.
and then I'll cover up the counter argument.
So, okay. I think what you're saying is, like, this argument that Noto bought to shut the market up, rephrased, is Noto is actively burning hundreds of thousands of his own dollars to appease retail investors.
Twitter for 2 days.
Twitter people.
No,
right.
literally.
So,
wait, hold on. But in comparison to 60
hold on, let me
million,
finish it.
100,000. No, I have to finish first, Tevis. This is how this goes.
All right, go for it.
If he has 60 million.
Oh God,
if he has 60 million, like 200,000 is nothing of that. That's the point, right?
Yeah.
So when you give 200,000 as a pity to like, hey guys, I bought some fucking stock. Like, shut the hell up, stop talking.
But SoFi's down like 70% in the last 6 months, let's just say, and Noto's been buying every 2 weeks on average. I mean, he bought every single week from March all the way to the fall, and then he bought really big in December when it fell, and he was buying consistently throughout Q1, and he bought again today. I wouldn't be surprised if next week comes around and Noto buys another 500,000 shares, and then 3 weeks after that he buys another. Like, he's just DCAing, man. He's not really doing it for any sure, there is a publicity angle, but at the same time, the point to be made with Carp is Carp knows that he can execute and he doesn't need to buy shares to prove it to the market.
Point.
Sure,
my point.
But
that's my point.
Also, you want Carp to buy shares. Why? Because, if
I don't want him to buy it out of pity, because he already has 65 million shares.
Sure.
Like, Carp has a lot of shares.
Understood. But the more capital I put behind something, the more my reward is going to be when that is inevitably successful. So if Carp
that logic doesn't pan out, Tevis. That's not like
because you're both missing 1 point.
No, it doesn't.
Carl
Icahn owns 85% of Icahn Enterprise. Does he need to own 95% of it for you to think like?
Would he make more money at the exit if he owned 95 versus 85?
That's the thing. It's not about what you think. He's making purchases for himself. The only difference between his portfolio being public and private is that he's forced to. Like, you know what I mean? So, what if he's just making these purchases on his own accord? You know what I mean? Like, he's always DCA'd and it's never had an effect on the stock. Why would he continue?
That's the thing, though. Like, that your argument is based on speculation. The only thing that we do know for fact is that if Noto can get this stock up to $25 by like what date, I don't know, but he makes a ton of money. So even if he's investing, I think he's doing it as a consistency thing instead of just like spinning all of his gunpowder early, because it's a good metric and a good sign for investors to like jump in a position if you could see consistent signs that the leadership is buying. So I don't know, it helps the stock get to 25. I think that's his reasoning, albeit we don't know it because like it's his money and he's just doing it like whatever he wants. But
I don't think 250 grand.
I think there's two things. 250 grand is nothing. It's pennies. Second of all,
such a ridiculous statement. That's such a dumb statement.
So if Warren Buffett bought $250,000 of a company, you would say that's a ridiculous statement still?
No, I would say that the dude putting in $10 million, 10% of his net worth into a company.
Yeah, but as you said, the more he buys, the more returns, right? So
that's what I believe.
That's only 10%. Here's the thing. He's not the founder of SoFi. Okay. So he's just the CEO. And I feel like
I would consider he is.
Well, he's not, but
he's not the founder.
He's not. Let's continue.
Elon Musk isn't the founder of Tesla, but like, I mean,
a little bit more shady. I mean, Elon was there very early. He came in 5-8 years.
Yeah, but like, what's your point of it?
If you want to play technicalities, SoFi was like not even what it was.
Look, my point is this was a good move, but I felt this was very pitiful operator. Hey, every bank is collapsing. If I don't buy today, like he's kind of in a catch-22 because he buys every time there's a dip. And if he didn't buy on this dip, investors would be like, what's going on? So to me, if you're going to buy on this dip, if you actually believe it's a dip, and again, I'm being hyperbolic when I say 250,000 is not a lot, but really buy the dip. Like 50,000 shares to me, given his net worth, is not really buying the dip. So the stock's not going to $2-3. Like we kind of know that it would be trading less than price to book, right?
But the last time he purchased $2.5 million was higher than the price today. He doesn't know where the stock price is going to go.
Yeah, but shareholder confidence has been decimated because every bank is collapsing. So today it really matters.
I know, but he's not. But that's my point. He's not worried about shareholder sentiment. Like, what
are you talking about?
Is Carp worried about? Yeah, but he's not worried about it with his own dollars. He just showed a triple beat quarter. That speaks for itself. He doesn't need to throw in another 250. He threw $10 million in the past 12 months. Okay. So 250,000 is 1/40th of that. Okay. He's DCAing in. He's buying in. Let the man buy.
And Amit, it just goes to show more towards the argument.
Amit's grabbing a calculator right now because he didn't.
Yeah, I just have to make sure the 1/40th was correct. Can't be wrong.
So Amit, it just goes to, it points more towards the argument that he was buying for himself because it was a smaller buy that goes more along with the DCA strategy. Like if he was financial engineering this like psychology of the retail investor, then he would have thought more towards like what is an appropriate amount for me to buy to pump the stock. But all of those are short-term, gains. And he has said time and again that, in the short term, it'll do what it wants, but in the long term, it's execution based. And so I just think that everything that he's doing is not out of order. I agree with the point that he's between a rock and a hard place because every time that the stock goes down, if he doesn't buy, it's going to be down further disproportionately. But I mean, if SoFi, I almost said if SoFi beat earnings, like SoFi beat earnings, but if the stock was up after they beat earnings, would he have bought still?
Probably not.
Let me answer this from a different chat. Sir Joel Hoff says, I honestly am struggling to listen to Amit much more. I find the rest of the group to present very thoughtful opinions and analyses where Amit does add no value to these dialogues.
Just look at how he's dressed. Like, what do you expect?
No.
What do you expect?
No,
I think like one thing
discourse, like,
I mean, one thing is like look, I'm not the only person that's been saying this. I was talking to some other people. It's not the best argument, but it's just something to think about. That's all I'm trying to say. Yeah. It's like there is something to think about this. It's an interesting, at least to me, a discussion to have versus, Noto bot. It's great because we can say then we're done in 2 seconds. But if we can kind of think of it from a little bit more of a different perspective, that's the only reason I want that. Obviously, it's bullish. It's good.
I'm not 100% like I don't get all excited whenever Noto buys the same way I did the first time he bought. Like whenever a CEO first buys in their company, you're like, oh my God, things are about to turn green. Now as he's just DCAing in and get used to it, I go, Noto bought, right? I tweeted it. Like I knew it was going to come.
The same thing for every single dopamine hit. You can just apply the same formula. You get a huge dopamine hit the first time around, then the more it happens, the diminishing returns.
Right. But I still think if the company is about to go under because the student loan personal loan portfolio is getting too large, defaults are rising, and it's about to actually collapse, there's no way you're just continuously throwing in burn money. You know what I mean? Like it's all too much money for it to be pissed away.
Yep.
Fair.
Well, so
he makes 1.4 million a year.
So okay, let me just double tap on that point that Amit brought up, Tanner, and just to sort of back him up on that, to say that look, Anthony Noto.
Wait, Travis, you said you're going to back me up?
Yeah.
Okay, so for the first time in my life, I will let someone finish. Go ahead.
Okay. I kind of regret even making a point to back him up at this point, but so he has so much of his net worth tied into SoFi, and if he does think that there's going to be, let's say a bank run or whatever tough times down the road, the incremental dollars that he puts in today to reassure the market so that it doesn't fall further disproportionately is like sunk cost fallacy at some point, right? Because if I had $50 million in a stock and I knew that if I didn't put another $1 million in, it was going to fall 20% and not 10%, then I'm going to do that because I sort of have to do that because now people are expecting it from me. And so he's started to, get people hooked on him buying time and time again, continuously, that as the stock continues to fall, he's now handcuffed himself to that sinking ship to continue to buy more and more and more to try to reassure the market so that it doesn't fall off a cliff. That would be the argument that I was making, with regards to the sunk cost fallacy. I do think that it's more along the lines of just the normal DCA strategy, but, that's the other side of the argument.
Sorry, Brian said I should take my shirt off and put the jacket back on.
Why did Tanner take off his jacket, put it back on, Daddy? Okay.
Yeah.
On a bender tonight.
Brian's also the guy that sends crucial information on every single one of my videos. He's even gotten to the point where I tweet out, I'm like, yeah, there's going to be a great video tomorrow. And he's like, crucial information. Loved it, watched it, enjoyed it. It's out in 24 hours.
Can we, I don't know if we have any other topics. We could transition to the topic of your video, Tanner, and discuss that.
We're not going to talk about the Apple, 4-day thing.
That's exactly what his video was about, to an extent. It was about Apple.
Tevis.
Looks like we get who didn't watch the video.
Yeah, that's the opposite of crucial information.
Tevis, when Tanner uploads, he uploads like twice a week, right? So these are precious uploads. Maybe no,
once a week.
Probably. So you don't take the 10 minutes out of your day to watch. And he texted us in the chat about this. You don't take the 10 minutes out of your 7 days to watch the video.
Sometimes I do.
No, there should be no sometimes. You should watch it every time.
You know what? I watched your video today, and that turned me off of YouTube for the whole day. I was just like, I can't do.
Can we give a plug to my video? Can we give a plug to
any other videos? Dude, I don't like. Did you drove to your local park to record it? Why did it have to be outside?
Because it's outside. That's what
I love the grind.
Why were you wearing golf pants and your fucking neck thing?
Bro, Tevis, I don't think you get it, but this is how I get girls. I don't have Brad Pitt looks, so I have to be a little bit more eccentric with my personality.
They do it different
in
Jersey, man. I don't know. I just
look at Dex's message in the chat.
I bet I'm not reading that, bro. I'm not reading that shit.
Oh my god.
I'm not reading that.
You got to throw it up on screen now.
Don't throw it up.
Please. Oh god.
I don't know what that is.
With the multi-streams, if we're laughing about a joke, the joke has to go up on screen. That's it's got to happen. Everyone's got to be in on the joke.
It's the internet, man. This shit lives on here forever.
I don't care.
I'm still laughing that Amit called $250,000 pennies.
Well, are you keeping it up here for the rest of the episode? What are you doing? Okay, the joke is over.
Well, yeah, but again, to clarify, to Noto, who's worth 10 million, 250 is pennies. Amit is clearly the drippiest. I don't know what you guys are saying. Yeah, I agree. That's it. Just saying.
Yeah, we definitely trust ET there.
Wait, did you guys actually not like the video I made? You guys didn't like it at all?
No, it was a good video.
Wait, Tevis, this whole thing was a tangential way for us to not recognize that it's aren't watching Tanner's videos. It worked, whatever you brought up. It got us off topic.
Can we talk about it now?
All right, Apple, Tanner, go ahead.
Stop avoiding the situation, Amit. Let's talk about it.
4 days, $1 billion in deposits. Also from my source, by the way, I'll just say they did talk to me about that. There was a SoFi all hands meeting. Someone in that meeting actually brought up how Apple is affecting SoFi, and they said that it's practically nominal. So they're tracking that based on who's leaving, where the deposit's going, and they're having to pay it out to Apple or Goldman Sachs. That's not the customer that I'm worried that goes to Apple. I'm not worried. 4.2% versus 4.15. It's pennies, really. No one's going to make the difference there. It's the people that are first seeing this as their first digital bank, or even the legacy players that are offering 0.01%. Those are the people you have to worry about whenever Apple comes in. And I mean, they're here.
I wouldn't worry about it at all. Because in order to open up this bank account, you have to get a credit card. And in order to get Apple's credit card, you have to be you can't even be 18 or 19 to get it. You have to actually have some credit history and not actually have poor credit, which young people tend to not have. And then also the savings account is not that robust. Is very, very, very minimal. You can't even pay your bills with it. They'd rather you just use the credit card. So it's something for your Apple Cash to sweep to, so you can make interest passively, which is good. But I don't know. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal in the short term. And I don't even think that they're focused on the banking aspect. I think they're just trying to make their credit card better. That I just signed up for it today, and so it changed my opinion. It's kind of I'm now an Apple.
What was your experience with it, Riley?
It was easy to open. Like I didn't even realize like I had the opportunity to like open it up. I had to go into the settings and go to my Apple Cash, and then somewhere in the settings says like open savings account, and then I click that and just sweeps all my Apple Cash that I like got off from points using my Apple Card, and it just like sweeps over there, and I earn like that 4% APY. So I don't know.
I love how Riley was like, "Oh, it's not going to be a big deal. It's not. I just got it today." Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like it really like in order to open up a bank account at SoFi, all you have to do is have your social security number and like a web page open. But for Apple, you have to like have an Apple device and then have to like get the Apple Card, and then after you get the Apple Card, then you can actually set up your savings account, and then if you really want, you can go through the settings and set up direct deposit, but they don't advertise the direct deposit to you at all, which is weird. It's like it's not set up for them to like actually bring a bunch of money in. Maybe they do that and advertise it later after they get like the kinks worked out or whatever. But I don't know. It just doesn't seem like they're really like trying to be a bank. They're trying to just supplement their credit card offering. That was my take.
So one of the things in my video, like the comment just posted here by Alex saying, Noto replied, "Bring it on." That sounds great. Love that. The problem is that even if there is more competition, that still lowers the potential earnings for SoFi. The difference between 4% and then their response to Apple going up to 4.2%, every consumer cheers. Okay. Everyone gets so excited. On $10 billion, that's a $20 million increase in their expenses. $20 million per year, just on 0.2%. So, Amit, get your calculator. I know you didn't do it, so go ahead and do that. But that is an expense, and regardless, I said in the video that just like the taxi or taxi industry versus Uber and Lyft, whenever competition comes in, everyone has to lower their rates, right? This is like Walmart stepping in and going, "Hey guys, I'm here to disrupt, markets." and so it's a bad point for SoFi, even if we keep our clients. We've already seen SoFi has been the first to act to increase their expenses because of new players on the field, and a big one, a scary one.
How would we lose our clients to Apple? And honestly, like I don't think somebody is going to move from SoFi over to Apple, because Apple does not offer 1/10 of what SoFi offers right now as like an all-in-one product. And like, let's say Apple does like best case scenario, they kill it, absolutely kill it. If anything, it's going to start pushing banks to actually adopt like a smarter technology, and SoFi is going to be right there with the net waiting for them. Hopefully,
but they can't adopt the one technology Apple has, and that's hardware. So I'm not worried about SoFi's clients.
Yeah.
The problem is SoFi has no clients. Like 5.6 million users is nothing in the grand scheme of things whenever you're up against the competition that has 2 billion active devices. Well, and so I'm not worried that they're going to take their clients. And honestly, I'm not worried for SoFi. Like everyone keeps getting my point wrong. I'm not worried for SoFi. I'm still a large investor in SoFi. I'm not an investor in Apple. I'm worried about the large incumbent banks, and it is going to increase expenses for SoFi.
So Tanner, are you going to sell SoFi because of this Apple news?
No.
So why is it even?
Let me just add one more thing to Riley's question. It's not a zero-sum game. In other words, it's not like black or white, either Apple or SoFi. You're the perfect example of this. You are, you have a SoFi credit card, you have a SoFi account, but you opened an Apple one as well. Mm-hmm. Right? And so where that affects us is not necessarily that we're on an absolute basis going to start losing users to Apple, but we're going to start losing some of that cash flow, because let's take you as an example. If you now have 2 credit cards, even if it's a small percentage of your normal cash flow that goes through SoFi now gets diverted through Apple, then that hurts SoFi. They get less data on you. They get less of the fees. They get, you with one foot outside of that ecosystem and towards that Apple ecosystem. So you don't need to absolutely cancel and fully close one account to go to Apple. You could have both products, and SoFi could still be hurt disproportionately by that. And especially SoFi, because you said it yourself, Apple is only accepting the best of the best from a credit score perspective. And who do we also know that does that? SoFi, right? You can't get, a lending club, customer, let's say, to go into the Apple ecosystem. There's a chance that they might not even get accepted. Their credit score might be too low, let's just say. But SoFi is renowned for having that high quality borrower who would be eligible for that Apple card and would be someone who, is financially responsible enough to have two credit cards. And that will hurt SoFi because that same person can now have two credit cards, whereas prior to Apple, since they had one.
I think, but like SoFi has way less to lose compared to traditional brick and mortar banks and also regional and local municipality banks. Like they're going to be losing a lot more. And whenever they smell like the fire at their feet, they're going to have to modernize or die. And SoFi is going to be there. And Noto has said this from the very beginning. Like that's their strategy. They're working towards like building the infrastructure. That's why we're like vertically integrating everything. So if anything, like if any banks are poised to get hurt by this whole Apple news, it's not going to be SoFi that's going to be feeling most of the heat. It's going to be those brick and mortar banks, and they're all going to be running to SoFi for a solution. Because how are you going to stop the bleeding if Apple is actually going to just eat everything?
Look, I think there is so many different camps that you can be in whenever you're considering this new competitor. Okay. Some people online were saying, you know what, this is just great for SoFi in the way that just adoption for digital banking will grow, right? Whenever people get the option directly on their Apple or on their Apple devices going, hey, by the way, we can store your money online. The people listening here in the SoFi Weekly go, no duh. But that's not actually the case for the rest of the world. Like people need brand awareness. They need to know these products exist. And a lot of people live under a rock. So having such a big player come in, and then once you're in the space and then going, oh my gosh, I love this so much. What other companies offer a service like this? And then they see the options that SoFi has. That could be a great benefit to us, right? Just increasing the transition over to digital. Amazing. Yeah. Then there's another thing of, hey, if the client is looking for a digital account and they find a savings account with Apple, because that will be the first touch point way before they even hear about SoFi. Now, if I could just say one more thing, because I was getting a lot of pushback online, even after my video saying, oh, well, Goldman won't even be able to accept all these deposits. They're going to grow too fast, and then they're going to get crushed because they're going to take on too many liabilities. I love the person that said this comment, but it was a dumb comment. Sorry. But like that is so false and so wrong, thinking that a company is not going to innovate and spread the deposits to other institutions. No bank is going to kill itself with too many deposits. It will never happen. It's never happened before. It will not happen today. Okay. So they're just going to go out and go, oh my gosh, we need to come up with a different strategy. Wells Fargo, Citi, Bank of America, JP Morgan. Can we split this? Right? Let's take a fee for all these deposits. They're never going to lose Apple as an actual issuing bank unless another competitor has something stronger to offer. Now, one thing that I see so many comments saying, but Galileo and Technisys' offer is stronger than Goldman's. We have no idea that that's true. We have no idea, right? Thinking that a company has survived over 100 years or whatever Goldman has done and thinking that they're dumb is just ignorant thinking. They are doing something right. There's a reason why they got the largest player in the world to be part of their system is because they have the scalability to actually handle the inflows. And so far they have been. So I'm still very positive on SoFi, excited as a customer to see what Apple can come up with. But this is not something where they're like everyone thinking that this is antitrust and everything like this. You're kidding yourselves.
I want to make a quick point because back in 2012, this is going to sound off topic, but it's not. Back in 2012, Apple realized that the Intel chips were not like suiting their needs, and they needed to get off of them sooner or later. So they started doing like their own chip manufacturing or designing, and they started like building an M1 chip. And it took like basically a decade to get this done. But like once they released it, it was far better than the Intel chips, and they were able to like actually do all that in house. And Goldman and Apple's partnership is ending in like 7 years. And I can guarantee you SoFi has like a better, or is going to be more vertically integrated than Goldman is for modern like tech stack wise, because they're building an entirely new modern language from the very ground up, where Goldman can't do that. Like Goldman in 7 years will still have people in their 80s using their accounts, and they signed in law back when those people joined them that they could still write letters to Goldman Sachs. So Goldman Sachs 7 years in the future is going to be still like supporting all these horrible old channels that just cost tons of money. Like there's so many ways that they're not going to be able to modernize. Legally, that SoFi will be able to, because we all signed the agreement beforehand. I don't know, like maybe there is a future where SoFi, maybe in like 7, 8, 10 years, like could actually be this company that would make huge like partnerships. But of course, it's all operational, like on Noto to make that happen.
Yeah, I'm hopeful it happens. I'm hopeful Visa doesn't take our clients. That's a scary thought. Really quickly, guys, I wanted to ask you if you guys would be interested, by the way, because people are, well, one person in the chat is asking me, but would you guys be interested in doing the Nubank earnings together, the earnings results, as a live stream, the same way we did SoFi's?
I think I'm
When
doing
is it?
something that day.
He doesn't even know what day. I think I'm busy. No interest, eh?
What day is it?
May 15th.
Yeah,
I'm not doing that, bro.
Sorry.
That one day.
Where's that good?
Everyone go to
Yeah.
Tanner's channel on May 15th. He will be live streaming the Nubank earnings and discussing the implications of that towards SoFi. But I will not be there.
We did the Lending Club one. That was fun.
Oh, you did Lending Club with Tanner?
Yeah, I saw a portion of the block one that he was doing.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if that's also something I wanted to bring up. It's actually on my other screen. I wanted to talk about blocks inflows. Like, so talk about where people are running away from their banks and throwing it into other institutions.
Just Cash App, you mean?
Cash App. So they got a massive spike in their inflows. Here, let me see if I can share this for you guys. But this is what I mean. Like, people are really people feel safe in their digital institutions. And the funniest thing is that Block's not even a bank. So they're just putting it in with other banks. If you could throw that up a minute. He's still doing 10 billion or 0.2% on 10 billion.
200,000 makes any sense. It's like,
Wow.
yeah, the Cash App stuff was
insane.
really interesting to me, bro. That was I mean, this goes against Hindenburg's argument, unless this is fake as well, if we're supposed to believe that,
right?
You know?
Yeah. They said they brought up one thing during the quarter saying that they were worried about fraud, right? And they said as a total expense for their operating expenses, their fraud and risk management systems, they spent 5x the amount as a change between 2020 to 2023, a 5x difference from the actual overall operating expenses. So absolutely crazy that they're really, really trying to be as, official or whatever you want to say, like trusted brand. And what's also funny, what goes against SoFi's argument is Cash App's savings product was one of their fastest growing products this quarter. Okay. Cash App savings. What's their APY on their savings product?
I don't know.
4+.
0.
Really?
Nothing. Not zip, nada. And people truly, this is what I mean about brand awareness. Like if you know the company, people don't shop around as much as you think they do. And so
but it's convenience is what you're saying. They have it on their app. It's like the number one downloaded app on the App Store.
It's the number one on the App Store, right?
Yeah.
And like that's what I mean. Whenever SoFi is the 35th down, you need to hear about them externally rather than just like you're not going to get the client whenever they're looking for their banking. You need to get them at the time where you go, oh, by the way, maybe you should talk about this, or maybe you should think about this. And by the way, we're the ones that told you have us in mind. That's a much more expensive strategy than the ones that are going, oh, I need a new bank. Is there anything online? And Cash App's right at the top. That's why their customer acquisition costs are some of the lowest. The only company that's under that is Nubank. Just saying. So like, this is also what I mean with the Apple strategy going back as well, is that if like, you know what they're going to see even before Cash App is Apple's. That's a scary thought. But
you're long where?
How does
yeah.
How does SoFi ever get that high up on the app charts? Like, especially since we're being conservative and only getting 400,000 members a year, a quarter. Like, that's not going to happen for a long time.
But if they shift their strategy to growth,
that's like years out. Yeah,
not necessarily.
You don't think so?
Next bull run, I would say they would shift more towards growth. Right now, they're being careful, man. Like, there's banks dropping like flies left and right. What do you mean? Like, they're not going to be like, YOLO, let's put it all in S&M.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and especially the app sucks. So once the app gets actually good, it would be kind of cool to see.
And someone put in a comment here. SoFi is also waiting, for their back end. I believe that as well. I think, you know what, like Amit said, 30-second facial ID is just not in the cards. And I think Cash App has been very slow and methodical with their product releases. But their user interface is untouched. It's perfect, Yeah. So it's whatever strategy you want to pick. Do you want to pick the Cash App or Robinhood strategy of like UI is the key to success here, and the user experience is absolutely key? Or do you want to pick the strategy of, hey, let's launch every product, let's maximize return on investment and try to just make a profitable company, and then we can worry about fixing it on the back end? I think both are successful, but yeah.
Do we want to take some questions?
Let's do questions.
Last
question
10 minutes.
Time.
Shop questions in the
time. Do you have any that I don't see any? I think SoFi's waiting to update their back end. Well, yeah, we just
Throwable put up a question. If you can put
we haven't talked about that in forever. I'm kidding. We've talked about that like every pod ever.
My big question for you all: when we inevitably go into a lowering rate environment, what's the next innovation draw? SoFi was on APY early. That's a good question. What's the next incentive when rates drop? We buy another stadium. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. Tevis, what do you think?
You're asking the Canadian that doesn't have the app. Wow.
All right, so let's think it through, right? API drop, personal loans is going to get hurt. Home
you shift to home and student.
Yeah. Home loans and student are going to increase, but that's just on the lending side, right?
Yeah.
Savings rate is going to come down, right? The APY on their savings account is going to come down, on their checking account is going to come down. That flow of deposits is probably going to get more constrained than it is right now. SoFi is going to be spending more on sales and marketing. Financial services at that point will be profitable. Probably they're going to have enough data from Relay to be able to leverage that data in an interesting way. So, I mean, AI is the buzzword du jour. So I could see them playing somewhere there. Also, considering the fact that, let's say a year from now, 2024, if you think of them from a strategic perspective, then they can have more integration on their tech side, but also Wyndham was their focus area for the last, 18 months or so to get their home loan side. My bet is that they're probably going to be expanding to consolidate something that they're currently partnering out for. So some type of insurance. What are the insurances they have? They have, partnerships with Lemonade. They have partnerships with a couple of different providers. They do cybersecurity insurance. They do car insurance. They do all kinds of different stuff. If I'm thinking of a one-stop shop, then probably they're going to try to consolidate, or that's where their headspace is going to be, try to make an acquisition of a player in that insurance space, and then just bundle all the way through.
I think the thing is that like, how do you know what the next innovation is going to be? Like, would you ever have predicted that buy now, pay later was going to be a thing? Because to me, I would just be like, okay, credit cards exist. You know what I mean? And how would you know that that's going to be such a sticky product? I'm not smart enough to know what the next product's going to be. There will always be more. I think that people can innovate. That's one thing humans are really, really good at doing. They love change. You know what? I always had this idea to start a software company for finance, and I'm going to pitch my idea now because I've decided I'm not going to do it, but I still want the service. So, Amit, you do this, okay? Why doesn't Google or Apple Pay have the ability to just tap to pay and then pick one of my credit cards that has the best cashback?
Bro, oh my God. So one of the early investors I raised money for my startup, he's like 29, 30, he's a couple years older than me. He put in 10,000 in my startup, and this was his idea. Now, he told me this 3 years ago, exactly what you said. You tap it, and then it's an app that pulls up so it would be an app. It wouldn't be Google or Apple, right? But he would make an app that creates the credit. And then if you're at Costco and the app automatically knows you're buying this is going to give the best return, it just goes with that versus you having to manually do it. He never executed on it because like he's busy and stuff, but he really thought the idea had potential. I agree with you. That's a great idea.
I have a bucket of cards and I always get like a little upset whenever I'm like, I purchase something and I go, oh my God, I could have got 5 more cents going with this company or with this card instead.
It's such a good idea, bro.
Isn't that like, if you think about that, that's an infrastructure consideration, right? Like it's going to be a headache to start that from scratch. So it makes sense that the most likely candidate to make it is somebody that already has, they're already working on the infrastructure, AKA Galileo, right? If Galileo is already a payments processor linking all of these, they can just scrap a GUI together and have all of the other providers on the back end that it can just aggregate, right?
Yeah. The one thing that I always thought for why it didn't exist was that if it's a bunch of credit cards, how do you know what bill to pay? And that customers could get mad if they didn't see like the, you purchase something and then, it's on your TD thing, or it's on with your JP Morgan card, or it's your Amex. Maybe that's why, because it doesn't seem that difficult. Why I don't get why Apple or Google hasn't created it. Because if Amit's friend or whatever and myself have had this thought, then a million people have had this thought. Like
it's definitely like what a lot of banking futurists talk about. A lot of people believe that credit cards are going to be disrupted, or the way that we look at credit cards are going to change. Because I mean, like we don't need plastic. We have the phone. It's way more secure. And then also in the future, it's going to be conversational banking. A lot of people think like you're going to talk to an AI and like, hey, like what is my I don't know. They'll go through your bank and get all your data and give you like wise advice.
Tevis, why are you laughing, bro? Why are you laughing?
Are you laughing because the manager comment? Yeah, dude, I was like, what? I'm not answering that question.
All right, there's this dude who's asking how many SoFi shares we're having. Not answering that.
Hello, Amit, Tyler, Riley, Tevis.
Why is that funny? I don't know why that part's funny.
Because my name is on this. My name's on the screen.
Oh, your name's not Tyler. Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's no one has to say how many shares they have. Everyone has their own amount of shares, but yeah, it's
okay. Before we get off this topic real quick, because Tevis gave a lot of his
we're done in 5 minutes, Riley. This is like the last topic.
Oh shoot. What I want to change is I want social investing. I want to be able to send money all over the world through one app. I want to be able to cancel subscriptions inside the app. I want an actual AI chatbot that actually understands my finances and helps me like get my money right. And yeah, and then also, I also want to get rid of that loan button on the freaking SoFi page. I want it to be able to customizable like home screen. I think all of these like improvements, I mean, these are things that no other bank has. It'd be really cool to like be able to have an app that does what banks can't,
Is anyone going to use SoFi Travel whenever it comes out? I think it's in beta right now.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna definitely use it.
I mean, I don't travel, so probably not. But if I ever do, I'll give it.
You don't
try.
travel?
No, where would I go?
Texas?
To a park.
I'm gonna be.
I haven't watched the video. You should watch the video. Yeah, I don't really travel much often, but one day.
Hey, could we maybe next time show a video of Teva shooting a gun?
I saw that picture.
I mean,
Oh yeah,
Him laying down.
he came to Texas.
I don't talk about my portfolio often, but I came out during the Melly live stream that I did, which they copyright strike. Melly did.
That's the dumbest thing ever. That made no sense.
I've never heard of that.
I feel like it's an intern who did it by mistake or something. Like their social media staff.
But so what's it called? I said during that call, which was the day before Shopify's earnings, that Shopify was my largest position. Or at the time, it was hovering there, almost there. Now it definitely is. It's up a ton, but felt like a really good win. And I thought I'd brag to you guys and call you losers.
Do you have a lot of positions, Tanner?
Yeah.
Like more than 20?
Yeah. Yeah, probably 30, 40.
Okay. What's on a percentage basis, what's your biggest one? Just
well, Shopify is my biggest. I don't know 100%. I'd be guessing probably 20 or so percent
is your biggest one.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Kelly, Shopify. That's why I've been saying I want to do a Shopify weekly podcast. I think that company is super cool.
Kelly should start that. You and Kelly should start it. There's enough news. There's enough news.
There's a ton of news. There's a ton. I think way more than SoFi. I think that 4 people sounds great, and I don't know who else aside from Brad Freeman that I would want on there, and he doesn't have that kind of time. So
he has that time. It's 1 hour a week. What do you mean he doesn't have that time? The guy has time.
Do you see the content this guy puts out?
Yeah, but he does. Remember, Brad said he does no video content. The reason he went to Instagram is because when he thought Twitter was going to shit, 1 hour a week to diversify some of your content, it's not the worst trade-off. You should ask. It's not the worst trade-off in the world.
Yeah.
To gain a little bit of a YouTube presence, it's not horrible.
What other questions do they have?
That would be really great for him.
I think that'd be.
Am I going to sell some Shopify? I thought about it. I really did. I hate selling. I hate selling. So I probably should. I probably won't.
You're green on Shopify, right? Or is your average?
Yeah. Now I am. Yeah.
Because I know people in 2021 they followed Kathy into it, and it's got hit.
I mean, that thing got killed 80%, 90% in 2021.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I've been a buyer for a very long time. So yeah. It's a great company. I started buying it because I was a user, and then just I don't know. I'm such a sucker for total addressable markets, second place competitors. I never really buy the first place people. I don't like holding Apple or Google or Amazon or any of these companies nearly as much as the second place guys, because they have so much to win. And then you worry about all the regulation. You know what second place never has to worry about is antitrust. Jeez.
All right. Well, that is it for us on this pod. It is 11 p.m. Thank you all for joining. Everyone's links are in the descriptions. Like, subscribe. SoFi earnings weren't bad at all. The market didn't like it, but it did recover off this news today. We'll see where it goes next week. And we'll keep going from there and continuing to cover the company. Any last words?
Thanks, yo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco
listening.
de Mayo.
Thank you, guys.
The support's
we'll
incredible.
See you next week. Good night.